If you're watching this later, give me a minute to get set up and going here. But I think I got the live stream working. So what I'll be showing you guys on the live stream, this is my first live stream that I have done from my new homestead and property. And so I'm just gonna be giving you guys a big tour. We'll be harvesting mushrooms, we'll be moving some sheep, and let's see here. Let me know if you guys could chat, the one person, could you chat and tell me if the microphone sounds good? And hey, let me know if the microphone sounds good, and then I will get started here. If you guys could chat, I want to see. Have not live streamed in over a year, so there it is. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Cool, guys. So yeah, we're gonna do a quick little garden tour. I'm gonna show you pigs, sheep, the chickens. I haven't done a live stream in over a year, so let's check out my new property, everything I've been working on, and just have some fun here. And yeah, so let me know if the audio gets weird or anything like that. Hey, Leslie. So right behind me, this is the garden that you guys have seen me working on and building. Yesterday, I just took down all the crops, all the summer crops, all the okra. Nice, Elijah. What's up, dude? And prepared things for winter. So let me show you a little bit of that. Here, these are different greens that I have going: mustard greens, tatsoi, chard, arugula. We've got some spinach and new chard coming up. Over here, a few herbs like cilantro, parsley. These are all radishes, turnips. And then this is the area that I worked on yesterday, and I did film all of this, so that'll be the next video I put out. So I just put all this stuff to bed, and what I did is I used the Jadam method, which is an organic, any gravy, we'll see. I just want to do a full tour first. So some Jadam organic farming methods. So what I did is I took the old peppers, the okra, the stuff like that, and I just chopped it down, laid it on the soil to feed the soil over this winter here. I put down some microbial inoculants, and I will do more as well, like Jadam microbial solution and indigenous microorganisms. That will come later. And yeah, so these beds are all there. Over here, the in-ground beds, I got cover crops coming up. This is all garlic. I planted 4 pounds of garlic. This is a 3-foot by 30-foot bed. So 4 pounds, that will roughly get you that. We have rain coming, so I was kind of preparing for that. Be sure to hit the like button so more people can see this, and really appreciate it. Everything through here, I harvested all the carrots. We got rid of all the summer crops. I've got all my tomatoes just laying around there. So I did cover crop, which is just my true leaf seed garden crop, cover crop mix. And I threw in a whole bed of carrots. And I even, on this cover crop, I just did this like kind of wonky pattern of carrots in there too. Just seeing if, I'm in zone 7A here in Tennessee. So seeing if I could get another round of carrots this late, try to overwinter them. So here we are, we're gonna come up to the piggies. Thanks for hitting the like button, guys, I really appreciate it. Elijah asks, what are the common trees here? Well, on my property at least, there's lots of oak. Say hi to the piggies. There are tulip, poplar, pine. There's lots of pine behind me. Different types of oak, beech, ash trees. There's a lot of privet and a lot of viney, gnarly stuff, a lot of pioneer type species, as this is, other than getting a mild winter here, it's almost like a rainforest. Thanks, David. So these piggies, if you haven't seen my most recent video, I talked about we are doing an actual pig harvest class here in East Tennessee, outside of Chattanooga. Nicholas, I'm on 16 acres. And so these 2 pigs that you see me raise, we're gonna get to butcher those together in person. I'm also doing this with 4 other farmers that you've seen on my channel: Forest Fed Farm, Mayfield Pastures, Cliff Davis of Pig and Leaf, and Blake Reimer, my local buddy here. So it's going to be really fun doing 2-day class teaching how to raise pigs regeneratively, doing all these methods. These other farmers have been raising pigs or breeding pigs for a long time, so it'll be really cool showing you guys like a whole different thing. So like my small scale homestead up to smaller farms to bigger farms to breeding operations, as well as doing a full slaughter, cutting up the whole meat, curing, packaging, all that good stuff taught by a professional butcher. So we're really excited. I've got a link in the description for anybody that wants to come to that. So yeah, the pigs have done amazing. It may be hard to tell on camera, but these are over 300 pounds up to maybe, this girl's maybe 400 pounds. We'll see when we weigh them out, but they are really fun. Pigs are so cool. I'll go in there with them. So they've been looking for acorns and stuff. So here, woo! They get wild. When they're this big, it's actually a little scary because they're not going to hurt me on purpose, but if they rammed into my knee or something, that could hurt pretty bad. So they're checking me out. They're like trying to nibble on me a little bit, but they're really great pigs, and they have done an amazing job cleaning up the wooded area around my property, dropping manure, and I will miss them, but they will be an amazing food source for the next year and longer for my family. So I also, I pretty much cook all my food now in lard, and the fat that I preserved from the first pig that we slaughtered here on the property, which I have a video all about that. YouTube is like hidden that video because that's offensive material. Meanwhile, you can show all sorts of disgusting things on YouTube, but apparently not harvesting your own food. So if you do want to see that, go check out the videos on my channel. So yeah, oh, let's check this out. So there's rain coming, right? It's gonna get this whole area wet. And what I do is I throw a cover crop out of barley seed. I use barley just because it's super cheap. I can get a 50-pound bag of seed for 18, 20 bucks. And let me show you what that looks like. So that basically, the reason I'm doing that is just after they've super disturbed an area, I want to put down roots into the ground. That is going to help the soil biology. Going to put more carbon, which are the roots, into the ground, which feeds soil biology. And this is a previous net. This is where they were. I used 4 different pig nets to do this. So here's what the barley looks like when it's coming up. And this ultimately, this is an annual grass, so it goes away. It's going to die off. But what I'm planning to do in the future is plant perennial grasses here, and perennial things that ruminant animals can eat, because you may have seen I have sheep now. And yes, there are 2 types of lard. The leaf lard, which is kidney fat, like same as on a cow, and that is like kind of flavorless, so it's best for lotions or baking. You can put it in any type of cookies or cakes, things like that. And then there's the back fat, which I like to use for cooking too. If I do stir fries or things like that. So yeah, like in the future, the idea is making this what's called a silvopasture. So it's the idea is that you're having a pasture underneath trees, and when grass is given a little bit more shade, there's like an ideal amount of sun and heat that grass can have on it, so that the solar panels of the leaves stay as efficient as possible. So basically your grass will go better, and you can bring animals through here. So my sheep in the future, I've got 4 acres of that front field that we're going to go down and look at, and I'm even going to move the sheep with you guys together, as long as my battery holds up, which it should. I'll show you what that looks like. And yeah, so in the future, this is going to be more silvopasture. I will plant other types of trees in here, probably more, nut trees. There are a bunch of wild elderberries that I found that I've been keeping. I'll plant more elderberries. David says, will you raise piglets and lambs to keep the cycle of life going? Lambs, yes, I am breeding those to keep them going. The pigs, I'm just buying feeders. That means that I'm buying an animal to raise out for slaughter. And I have a friend nearby that does that, so I'm going to be buying that from him. If my most recent episode is picking up a really special breeding boar, that's a male intact pig that is going to be bred with Mangalitsa sows, which are famous for having incredible fat content. And this Duroc boar is raised by Cliff Davis of Pig and Leaf. They've been breeding this old line of Duroc for, I think they've been controlling it for 70 years. There's been like 3 different men who have continued this line on. Henry is the middle guy they've bred into this incredible animal. So I'll be raising those. Hey, Cheryl. I'm outside of Chattanooga, and that's like the most I'll tell you of where I am. Let's see here. So let's go over here. Let's do the mushrooms. So mushrooms, that's been something new for me this year, and I'm in love with doing it. I think it's just such a fantastic homestead or home food source. It's fantastic for business as well. It's a great addition to a market garden or small farm. And you know, part of the reason I'm doing all these different things, I want to show you guys as many different techniques as possible for you to raise your own food for your family or for your business, to add on things that are great revenue sources. And that's what I'm playing with over the next couple years as I'm building a new farm. So this is the mushroom area, and I have some great ones to harvest with you let's see here. Oh yeah, they look good. So I'm walking past all these logs, and I have 2 videos about how I set all this up. So how I inoculated these logs, and also how I set up this little A-frame setup. I didn't have such a good setup in the beginning. Yeah, I'm sorry for this camera, guys. I need a better tripod for doing lives and stuff. But these are oyster mushrooms, and I think they're great oysters. There's a lot of different types of oyster mushrooms that you can do. And if you're in an area that gets a lot of moisture throughout the year, that has humidity, especially in the summer, this is like a great thing that you can do. I have friends in San Diego that are currently growing mushrooms, or attempting to see what's possible in a drier environment, and I hope to be able to share that with you in the future. So if you are in a dry environment, you can do things in wood chip beds like King Stropharia, or wine caps are another one that you can grow out of wood chips. That's something you could look into. But if you're in a deciduous kind of rainforesty, Washington State, the whole East Coast of the United States, the Midwest even, you can use these logs and inoculate them. So check out my video if you want to learn how to do this. I highly recommend that you do. So, okay, if I can get this camera to stay, we will harvest some. So the oysters, pretty much all these mushrooms, I just rip them off. And I'm just gonna rip off the ones that are the biggest. So here's what we got here. And I'm doing shiitake, olive oysterlings, oysters, and chestnut mushrooms. And so far, I really think, for me, oysters are like my favorite. Shiitakes are maybe my second favorite. And, the oyster has like a great texture. It's more mild. The shiitake is a little more in your face. Yeah, you can definitely do small land homesteading in San Diego. Absolutely. It's really all about how you plan out your space. I mean, you guys saw what I was able to do in Lemon Grove in San Diego. I grew on 1/8 of an acre between all 3 of my garden plots, and I was able to run a successful business. In the height of summer, like when my farm was at its peak, I could make around $1,000 a week selling produce, because I'm selling the highest quality produce the highest quality produce, the freshest produce, the most organic possible, and that's why I could get those prices. So, and if you guys want to support my channel, the best way you can do that is check out the links in the description. If you buy through any of those links with those companies, I just get a kickback from that, and it doesn't cost you anything else. I have a Patreon, I have a Subscribestar, I have a PayPal, and you can actually join as a member on my YouTube as well. And it's a way that you can guarantee that I would answer any of your comments that you leave on YouTube. Just a little quick plug for myself there. So let's keep harvesting these. And if you super chat me, I will of course answer your question. It's hard to answer all your questions as they're coming in on the chat. So we're getting rain, guys. Actually, so I should harvest all of these, and it's gonna be like a 3/4 inch rain event, something like that. So I've noticed that if you let any mushrooms stay out during a rain, they just get ruined. So we'll get all of these. And I grew my logs mostly on oak wood. There is some other stuff, like, I'm not exactly sure what this wood was. It was more light. I'm still learning my trees because in San Diego, there's not many deciduous trees. So there's been a huge learning curve in Tennessee, just trying to figure out lots of different things. Gardening here was honestly just as easy as San Diego, but that's probably because I have a lot of experience doing that. Let's get the backside here. All right, and that's about it here. Oh, missed one. Cool, so check out what I got, guys. This, look at all those. That's enough for many days of eating mushrooms, so really cool. Okay. Oh, cool, we got a super chat. Thank you, guys. How do I see that? Oh, there's like that, okay. Oh, just one. Thank you, Cheryl, that's so nice of you, appreciate it. So, oh, don't want to do that. So next, let's see, I don't think there's any other mushrooms. Let's go, I'm gonna show you the chicken coop that I've been raising my chickens in and just show you a really simple way to set it up. I am working on a mobile coop. I'm kind of basing it off of Justin Rhodes' Chickshaw, which is an amazing design. I'm trying to improve on a couple things that I don't like about it and that people have problems with, like the kickstand. Since it's a two-wheeled device, it kind of can be annoying. So that's coming in the future. That's a project that I'm working on this winter. These are all shiitake logs, but I don't see anything today. Usually the rain is kind of like a fertilizer almost. It makes the logs produce fruit, and you can actually force fruit mushroom logs by soaking them in water for 24 hours, and then they will produce the mushrooms. But in Tennessee, we get rain pretty much every single month, and so I don't really need to do that, which is a real blessing. But a lot of the professionals, that's what they do, so you have like this constant harvest. Oh, let me show you guys this. This is an area that I set up. I've been chainsawing a lot the last year since last winter. You know, I taught myself how to do that. I got some advice from, you know, a professional who came and cut some of the trees closer to my house too. But this is an area that I opened up myself with the chainsaw and got a ton of practice. Maybe you'll be able to see all the colors, the fall colors on the mountain there. Incredibly beautiful. I thank God every single day that I'm able to steward land like this and be able to share it with you guys and hopefully inspire you guys and get more people to want to live like this or grow their own food. Because this is the future, guys, for if you want to remain free in this world as we go forward, if you're paying attention to what's going on. Becoming more self-sufficient and self-sufficient within a community is incredibly important. So we're gonna walk over to here, go through the woods. Oh, here's something to show you. Planted some lamb's ear in the spring. This is sesame, and letting it go to seed so that it'll naturally just come back. I've been playing around with that a lot more here since we get so much rain, that like I threw out marigold seeds and different flower seeds. Any of my plants that I let go to seed, I just threw it out here in the hopes that adding to the seed bank, it'll produce more just wild seed essentially. Hey, what's she doing here? One of the girls came back. Don't know why. All right, so let's talk chicken coop here. Get this set up. Nope. Apologize for the crappy tripod here. Okay, there it is. So, what is this? This is just a dog kennel. And thank you guys for hitting the like button. I really appreciate it. That just helps the algorithm know to show this to more people. So, yeah, this is just a dog kennel, and we got it for our dog Millie because in the beginning, you know, she wasn't trained. We didn't know. We had to like leave for hours to go shopping or do whatever we need to do, right? And we didn't want to keep her in the house. She was more of a puppy. You didn't want her destroying things, right? This cost us, I forgot, it was like between $150 and $200. It's a metal kennel. It is maybe 8x4 in size. And anyways, Millie is a good girl. She can stay in the house for hours and hours now, so we don't really need this for her. So what we've done is just turn it into a chicken coop because you could use this for a lot of different animals, honestly. And so what you're seeing in here, it's just that's my feed, that's my water, that's minerals and the grit so that for their digestive system. And then right here is a roll-away nest box. And on my old chicken coop, I didn't have one, but I always wanted to have a roll-away nest box. So this is they haven't used it yet because they haven't used it yet because they're not laying yet. And I got these chickens from my neighbor. So far, no bear issues. My neighbor has Rhode Island Red, she has Silkies, she's got some Orpingtons. These birds are half game bird and half Rhode Island Red, so they're a bit more wild and crazy. But that also means that they have really good instincts, and they've been great. And in the beginning, they were like trying to roost in the trees and things like that, but at the end of the day, near dusk, I would just push them back to their coop. And about 1.5 to 2 weeks, they were trained, and now no matter what's going on, they come back to this coop to go to sleep at night. And all I did for their roost was just throw a couple branches that you can see right through there, and boom, that's where they sleep at night. Super easy. And this is just my temporary coop until I'm able to set up a mobile one. But just wanted to show you guys this because this is such a great option for anybody out there who, you know, this is easy to set up. It's made out of metal. It'll last forever. This is cheaper than wood, honestly, at this point with how expensive wood is. So, you know, and they still get the free range. I close the door at night. I open the door in the morning. I let them do their thing. You know, you could have predator issues like hawks or things like that, but I have yet to have that. You could, of course, always go electric to try to help protect them. And when I do the mobile coop, I will probably be using electric for that. But we'll see. I may not even need it. I don't know why, but the predator pressure here has not been bad. There's coyotes that I hear at night sometimes, but not really. I mean, I have a couple neighbors that have dogs, and they're barking all night, so I think that's what kind of keeps things away. So that's my chicken coop. I've got 8 chickens right now, but I want to get a rooster, and then I want to get a few more heritage breeds as well. Not these like wild game birds. So let me grab this. We're gonna go down and see the sheep now. I got everything. Yeah. So we're gonna head down. So the sheep are my newest animal that I've experienced. I think I'm 4 months in on raising sheep, something like that. So they've grazed around the entire property, actually. They started out here and they went all the way around to all these other areas that you saw me in earlier. They came down this hill. They were in this. That's my biggest elderberry on the property that I harvested elderberries. I froze them. I still need to make my elderberry syrup. And so yeah, they were all in this. I've been moving them in the woods, which when you're using these nets, it is kind of a pain, to be honest. And they're finally out to the grass, which I'm loving because now my moves are very easy. So this single strand wire here runs up to my Energizer, that little house that I just picked up all this stuff from. So that's what runs the electric down to here. I have it all off. I didn't want to shock myself live on YouTube. That would not have been fun. Getting shocked does not feel good. I've done it way too many times. And basically you transfer the power with these alligator clips. And okay, let's go talk about the girls. And then we'll look at the boys, and then we'll talk, or I'll show you how I move the sheep. I'll stop talking for a little bit while I do that. Okay, so here's the St. Croix. And those are the boys, right? So I've got a ram, and I have a wether, which is a castrated sheep. And I'll explain that in a moment. Oh. Okay. Hey Justin, yeah, a lot of things have changed since you came here. So these are St. Croix sheep. I went with St. Croix because they have very high parasite resistance. They are a breed that was, and many of these high parasite resistant breeds were bred in the Caribbean actually. It's kind of interesting. So like Katahdins and I can't think of them right now, some different ones. So they're really neat. They're like an all white sheep. Katahdins, which that brown one you saw, he's part Katahdin. The Katahdins are another great breed. They're a little bit bigger sheep than a St. Croix. St. Croix are famous for when they lamb, they have twins quite a bit. And if you're raising sheep, you know, getting twins is fantastic. That's always kind of you're always shooting for that. You're breeding for that. And yeah, they're super cute. The girls are definitely a bit more jumpy. I have, like the boys, when I move them, I can just let them out and they go crazy. And then I can just call them back. They know my call and they know that they get alfalfa. Alfalfa is a great option to feed sheep rather than corn or some type of grain. They love grain, but that is not the diet that they were designed for. They're ruminant animals, so they're supposed to live on grass. And they're getting so much better. They used to not be able to even get this close to me. They get so scared. So I do the call that I came up with, and you can make whatever you want. I just say, sheep, sheep, and now their heads pop up. They'll come right to me. The boys really need to move. I put them in a new spot yesterday, but it's like, you know, there wasn't enough food in there for more than 24 hours. And so that's why I'm going to show you the move. So what else? Here's some things that I'm gonna give the girls right now. This is kelp. This is garlic salt. So these are just minerals that help to improve the health of the animal. Garlic's great for the immune system, of course. And sheep are a more delicate animal. It's a lot easier for them to die. They're, you know, like a chicken. If they get sick, they die pretty easily. And you know, I'm trying to run a herd without any dewormers. It's very, very common that people deworm their sheep. I would like to breed a herd that does not need that. And when you're looking to buy sheep, that's a good thing to ask the people you're getting them from. Do you use dewormers? Have you had issues with die-off from parasites? You know, and you're always breeding for certain traits in the animals. And breeding is a whole new world for me. You know, I know a little bit about plant breeding, but I've never done plant breeding or anything. So it's a different way of thinking about things for sure. So why don't we go in there and I'll show you kind of what their paddock looks like right now. I think I'll let them stay in here one more day and then we'll move them. Thanks for hitting the like button. Also in this alfalfa, I put some SD microbes, bokashi. Bokashi, you've probably seen me do composting with it and all sorts of stuff. So it's also another thing that I could feed to them that is inoculated with lactobacillus and will help their health. So we're gonna go over to their feed bucket. It's a mineral bucket, really. So the sheep will eat the leaves of trees. They of course eat grass. They are not as hardy as a goat. So if you want something that's just going to demolish every type of leaf, no matter what it is, you want goats. Sheep are somewhere in the middle between like a cow and a goat. So they'll eat a lot of weird stuff and weeds and stuff like that, but not as much as a goat. So let's put this in, and look at this. See how the girls are following me? They never used to do this, so I've been slowly getting them more comfortable with me. I talk to them all the time. You know, in the Bible it says that the sheep know the voice of their shepherd. And I think that's, when I read the Bible and you just see more and more agricultural analogies, it's really fun. So, okay, that's the mineral bucket. If this thing don't fall over. Okay, so, these leaves out of here. So what this is just an easy place for them to get their minerals. So I just dump in some kelp. They've already got plenty of the salt here, so I'm not going to give them any. And it's going to rain. And the top that I have on this right now is not the best. So I don't want to put too much in and have it get wet. And then I'll give them some alfalfa with a little bit of the bokashi to improve their gut system a little. And then the rest of this, I'll give the rest to the boys. Hey, let's see what happens. Let's see how close they'll get. Wow. Oh, I scared them. Hey, let me show you guys this. Okay, let's see if we can get them close. Sheep. Sheep. Come here, girls. Sheep. You got a brave one. It's okay. Sheep. Yeah, I'll back off more. Sheep. Sheep. Okay, so I'm gonna put the top on this because we got rain coming. And then we will, all right, so we're done with the girls. And I won't mess with them again. So the next move, I'm thinking I'm gonna go this way, and I wanna keep them along the edge of the woods here. They're helping me to clear up this area, thin things out. And that's what's so amazing about getting to work with these animals, is that they do an incredible amount of work for me. They're dropping manure. They're helping me prep areas. You know, I do come through these paddocks and with my a little tool, a power tool, to knock down certain trees or things that are overgrown that I don't want. I'm selecting trees that I do want to grow and get bigger. So they're helping me to kind of just do all that much easier and use a lot less like gasoline in order to do it. So this area, I guess I'll talk about some future plans, like this little area. Yeah, please hit the like button. Thanks, Cheryl. You're awesome. This area behind me, do you see how flat that is? It's actually raised up a bit. And this is an area where I'm thinking of putting in a market garden or like a couple huge greenhouses that I could grow different crops in. And I'm playing with the idea of different crops. So I don't want to build another market garden, honestly. I feel like that has been done already. It's been shown how to do that extremely profitably, extremely well. Like, you can learn from the best people in the world already. Like, they all have online courses. Like, it's already, all the info's out there on YouTube channels. I've shown how I did it. I'd like to show other ways of making a profitable farm besides that. And I think that's really important. You know, a lot of young people are more interested in farming, or well, of all ages really, and I want to show other ways to do things. So I've been thinking about doing things that I can plant once and harvest once. Things like garlic, turmeric, ginger, things that I can take and then turn into some sort of product to then sell. The best profit margins in farming are from value-added products. So taking something, rather than just selling the garlic as cloves, I can take that and I can turn it into black garlic. I can do this, I can take the turmeric and the ginger and I can powderize it and put it in a tea. I can, you know, etc. There's all sorts of things that you can do. So that is kind of the future for me and where I see myself building another farm. If I did another market garden, then what I'd be interested in is having someone else run it for me. But that's in the future. The things I'm discussing are at least a year away. The next project is this field. So this is 4 acres. We just bush hogged it. This is where the sheep will live for the next 4 months through winter. They will graze down all this feed storage that's just here. So I'm not going to buy them any hay or any inputs. And my future goal for this, and one of the reasons I mentioned that this is raised up, is because you might be able to see that brown area down here going towards that bush or whatever. That is an area that floods and stays very wet. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to put in a series of ponds. We'll be doing on contour swales, planting onto the hillside here with fruit trees. In this center area, I'll probably do things like elderberry or currants or things that are water tolerant. Whereas up here, this is this raised area, so this never floods. I've seen it in huge rain events. It's always good to go. This is very compacted ground here, so it's going to take some work, but I will be doing and showing and doing soil tests using Korean natural farming techniques, and a lot of, doing cover crops, things like that. That's how I'm going to achieve fertility here. And I'd like to not bring any compost in even and see if that is possible. So those are some ideas that I have out here. Obviously, once I set up sort of this agroforestry system, the animals, these sheep that I'm raising, will be running through the alleyways of that, grazing down the grass, dropping manure. And I probably will just stick with sheep. I have no plans to get a cow. I don't have enough land for that. I don't want to deal with dairy animals. I don't want to have to milk once or twice a day. I'd rather buy my beef and buy my milk. We have many Amish and Mennonite communities that you can get raw milk from. I have a friend that they have a dairy cow. So that's, as a farmer, you can't do it all. And it's too crazy to do it all. I don't have enough time. Maybe if I wasn't making videos, but that's how I make my living, is content creation. So I either got a farm full-time to make my living, or I have to do content creation, or I kind of, right now, I'm doing both. But I wouldn't call myself a farmer right now since I'm not selling food. But as I told you, I'm planning for the future, setting all that up. So I really appreciate everybody who watches my videos, who hits that like button, watching the ads, buying through my links. This is how I'm able to do this full time and teach and show people how to do all this. So I'm very thankful to everybody who has supported me over the years and gotten me to this level. And when I started my YouTube channel, I had no idea where it would lead. I just wanted to show people somebody growing food in their backyard, how they could scale up and eventually get to a bigger property. And I was able to do it thanks to God and all of your support. So thank you guys. Let's go meet Esky. This is our barn cat. Come here, Esky. Can you see her? Yeah. Come here. So she's a really good barn cat. She's already caught a bunch of moles. And we got her for free. We had a friend who got a couple, like, wild cats showed up and they had kittens, and we got 3 of them. And they've been great. And we have 2 house cats and this barn cat now, so that's been really fun. So what is next? I guess we will let's let the boys out actually, and you can see how cool it is. No bindweed. You know what? I don't even know what that looks like, but I don't know. I'm not really worried about it. The sheep, the animals, bush hogging, doing cover crops will wipe it out eventually if it is here. I'm not too worried about any type of weed or anything. Also, changing the soil biology to more fungal, it eventually won't be able to handle that. So I'll be showing you guys how I deal with all this stuff. I don't really pay attention to pests or weeds or things like this. I focus on changing the soil, and everything else will come into balance after that. And oh, one more thing about the sheep and why I feed them minerals. This is something that I learned this year too. And why don't we let these guys out since they're going so crazy? Come here. All right, there you guys go. So the fence isn't on, obviously. I trained them to figure out that if I drop the net like that, it's not on. And then they've kind of trusted that they can walk over it. But if the net's up, then they haven't jumped it yet. So, oh, so what I was saying about the sheep and the minerals. So by feeding them minerals like this, and there's even more complex mineral programs that you can do. It's an expensive thing, but you can buy like these huge mineral feeders that like Greg Judy uses, like 26 different minerals that are self feeding. Like they choose what mineral they actually need for their body. And what they do is, you know, when they're deficient in magnesium or calcium or this or that, they'll go and eat it. And then that balances out their system. And if you think about it, they're eating these plants, right? They're not getting all the nutrition from the plants because the plants aren't able to uptake those nutrients because it's not in the soil, or more accurately, it's not bioavailable to the plants to uptake. So by them eating that, they eat the plants, they're mineral deficient in certain things, they choose those minerals to eat, and then they poop those out, and that remineralizes the soil. So this is another way to remineralize soil. You could, of course, use the Albrecht method where you do a soil test and you bring in those minerals to balance them. That's more of a reductionist kind of Western philosophy, and I'm not into that. As we know from Elaine Ingham's work, all the minerals and all the things that plants need are in the soil itself, in the sand, silt, and clay, but the biology is not there to unlock it. So if the biology is there to unlock it, the plants and the microbes can communicate and exchange exudates and nutrition between each other. And that's how you could achieve remineralization. Even if it's already there, but the plants can't get to it. So those are a few huge concepts to understand with farming and gardening, and it applies to animals, it applies to humans. All of our health is connected to this soil biology, and that's why understanding it and learning how to work with it is so important. So what I'm gonna do now is take down this net, and we're gonna move it to a nice fresh grass area that they can enjoy. And we will also move the hot wire. So I'm going to show you all of that. So I'm going to stop talking for a little bit, and we're going to do that. At the end of that, I'll come back and talk with you guys more. Maybe come up with some questions, drop some super chats, and when I come back, it'll take me probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do this, I'm guessing. Something like that. Battery life is still doing good. So let me zoom out here, and you guys can kind of see what this looks like. These are sheep nets that are 42-inch tall. These are the Premier One nets, and I like the 42-inch ones the best. I have some 35-inch as well. I like the extra predator protection. I don't have a livestock guardian dog. I don't plan on getting one unless coyotes attacked them or something. Then I would really consider it. But as of now, I have not had predator issues. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that was taking that net down. That was pretty fast, right? And these are actually 35-inch nets. These are not the 42s. So now I'm gonna set them up in a nice area here. So against the barn, there's a lot of nice grass there. And how I do my nets, this is how I figured out how I like to do it the best, is I lay it out on the ground first, get it to where I can see that I can get like the perfect size, and then I actually stake it into the ground. And because my ground's a little hard, I use like a real light hammer to knock those posts in, and that's what works well for me. Okay, so what I just did is I gave myself a rough estimate, and because I've done this a bunch of times, I kind of know exactly what the square will look like. These are 164-foot nets. So what you're seeing me do, I'm using some step-in posts. Hey Kimberly, how's it going? What you're seeing me do is I'm trying to get around this piece of the barn here, and there's a bunch of good grass in that corner. So I'm gonna take a step-in post to kind of attach that to my net so I can push back into that corner and make the shape of the net that I want. You know, it's easier just to make a square shape. I'm just trying to get the extra grass in that corner there, and I want to have all my nets hot down here. In the past, I would, near my house, I could run it not hot and run it right up against the building. Right there, see that truck going by? There's a bunch of chicken farms all over Tennessee, but that is what they're going to go do. They're going to go load up chickens and take them to the slaughter. And man, I've been inside one of those chicken houses. It is a nightmare. You walk in and you can't breathe, you can't see. The amount of ammonia in there is unbelievable. And the birds that I saw, they were birds that are sold to Chick-fil-A. So if you've ever had a Chick-fil-A sandwich, you're eating straight poison. I've had a Chick-fil-A sandwich, I'm not gonna lie. It is good, but I rarely ever eat anything like that because it's straight poison. It's unbelievable, honestly. You can't believe it when you walk inside one. If you've ever seen, what's that movie, Food Inc? If you've seen that movie, you know what it looks like, but to actually walk into it is a whole nother experience. Okay, I'm gonna get a step-in post and then put the rest. Starting to feel raindrops, but we're almost done. So I gotta get the boys in here. And the alfalfa always does the trick. But I can just call them. I'm also trying to get any sticks or crap off of the fence so it doesn't mess with the electricity. Sheep. 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 Come on, guys. Don't got time for this. Sheep. See if I can push them in. There we go. Come on. Come on. Sheep. Sheep. There we go. Okay, those nets look good. So that net is not hot. I have to bring my reel down. I just got a 3-to-1 geared reel, which is kind of like, it's like the Rolls Royce of fence setup. If you ever watch Greg Judy, he's like the guy to learn from, I think. So I'll just run that down and then we walk back up, we'll turn it on, make it go hot, and then I'll keep talking with you guys. So don't post any questions yet. Let me go sit down, and then if you have questions about what I'm doing or things like that, we can talk more. I'm having fun doing the live stream. It's been so long. So let me just get this and then almost done. So this is what a geared reel looks like. And that's all the wire on there. I could do this with the net actually on, but I'm not brave enough to do that yet. Okay, that'll work. All right, we're done. So this is kind of janky, but it's raining. I got to get back up there. I don't want to make you guys wait, but this will be hot once we go turn it back on, and whatever, that'll be good. I'll fix it tomorrow. So now we're gonna walk back up. So you people to see. So I ran that through the woods here. I'm gonna put a permanent fence set up here at some point. But for now, I'm doing it all temporary. So everything else is set. Everything else looks good. And when I turn on my net from the Energizer up there, so I want to double check. Yep, this is gonna go hot. And now I know that we're gonna be okay. And I'll show you guys on the Energizer what it looks like to make sure that I am super hot down here without even using my tester on it. So it's gonna be nice to get this rain, but after this, we're gonna get our first frost. I looked on the weather. So winter's officially here. It was 70 degrees the last couple days, but we're done now. It's going into winter. This is also the area where my pigs started, and I did a big cover crop here. It's all wiped out by the sheep. Oh, here we go. Let's put the chickens away together. Go this way. We gotta get those mushrooms too. If you weren't here earlier, those are the oyster mushrooms I harvested from the logs. No. Well, we'll come back for the girls. They don't want to go in there yet. And then we'll sit down and we can chat more if you want. Okay, so this is where I have, this is like where our well pump is. And there's it's my Energizer. It's a Speedrite 6000. Okay, so you can see it hitting It's minus about 2 dots there. That's probably at like 6,000 volts, so that's more than enough to keep out any predator and to keep in the pigs. So the entire property, all the way down to those pig nets, are all running off this single thing here, and you can see the wire running all the way down over there. So I'm doing this all with temporary setups here until I do a permanent system. And out on that field, I need to set up a new perimeter fence as well. So I don't know if we can afford it yet. We just put on a new roof for our house, which I'm sure you know is crazy expensive. So we got to save up again. But all right. So that was what a day looks like, or what a move looks like, I should say. And now it's raining, so we got it all done in time. Nice. All the animals are safe. I just got to put the chickens away. I cannot forget to do that. I'm sure some of you have experienced that and come back to a massacre. That's always not fun. So we always got to remember to put those chickens away. So yeah, if anybody has any questions or you want to super chat me or all that goodies, I will answer. Enriched. I am not going to be doing cows. I don't have enough land for that, in my opinion. I'd rather focus on sheep, which to me is a better homesteading animal. It's kind of, for me, it's like the ultimate homesteading animal. That and goats. Those are actually the most prevalent animals in the world. So if you go to the Middle East or Africa or China, India, all places all over the world, they are raising smaller ruminant animals for milk and for meat. And I think it really makes sense when you think about not having access to electricity, not having access to freezers, things like this. You could harvest one sheep and feed whatever, 10 families or something for that day. So that is kind of how I'm thinking about things. Let's say I don't have access to power. Some of you may know about certain things that have been said by certain elite that about the power grid. So I think about things like that, and if I have a 2,000-pound animal, what am I going to do with all that meat if I can't keep it cold? You need special equipment in order to butcher that animal. I don't have a tractor. I also don't know how to do it. That's a whole nother skill set, doing a cow. Pigs are hard enough, so a cow is just crazy to me. I think that cows are excellent. I think they're the ultimate ruminant farming animal for sales. For selling meat, there's nothing better than a cow, but I have 16 acres and only 4 of it is in pasture. So for me, it does not make sense. I should be doing sheep or goats or pigs, chickens. Those are the animals I should focus on. Even though I'd love to have a cow someday, maybe in 5-10 years, I'll be able to buy 50 or 100 acres of pasture or lease the pasture and run cows. I'd love to do that someday. Yeah, ducks, chickens, yeah, those are the best. Like, chickens are amazing. You technically don't have to feed them. They could free range. They won't lay as many eggs or get as big for meat. But in the case of a disaster or things like that, they're great. The extra poles I used on the net and the reel, are those also from Premier One? The reel, yeah, that's from Premier One. I am happy with that reel, actually, now that I figured out how it works. Terragate is another, that's the other, Terragate is like the best one, according to Greg Judy. He's a professional ruminant farmer. He runs like thousands of acres, so I would trust him for sure over my recommendation. Those step-in posts that I used that you saw, those were left over from the previous owner, and those are kind of the garbage ones from Tractor Supply. So the ones from Premier One are way nicer, I think, and they're white with the UV resistant. Yeah, a lot of people want to know, why did I pick Tennessee? I don't like to talk about that because I don't want a bunch of people moving here, honestly. Like, if you don't believe in freedom and liberty, if you're not willing to die for that, like, I don't want to encourage people to come here. That's my mindset about it. All the things going on in the world right now, you can disagree about what this illness is. You can disagree about other things being taught in schools or this or that, like whatever your politics are. Like, none of that matters. All that matters is individual liberty. Do you believe people have the right to choose what goes into their body or not? That is it. Like, that is the thing that we need to unify on as a people in the United States and around the world. That's the most important thing. Um, so, yeah, if you're into that, then Tennessee might be a good place. But you got to figure out what's good for you and what you want to do with farming or land, or I don't know what you believe in or what you're trying to do. So it's hard to uh, recommend that. But from there are many states in the United States that I think are viable and good that will remain free for a longer period of time. Um, People are not standing up in big enough numbers. I can't believe we're 2 years into this scam and people are still not resisting hard enough. I haven't worn a mask this entire time. This was like a year and a half ago, but I went on a plane without a mask, the only person, and I was able to do it. I did recently wear a mask, unfortunately, to go to a friend's wedding. I didn't want to get kicked off on the plane, so I wore it. But other than that, I will absolutely not ever wear one or do this. Don't poison your body. Look into what that actually does to you. Even talking about this could get me banned on YouTube. So check out the links down in the description where it says follow me. I have a Telegram, I'm on Odyssey, I'm on BitChute, I'm on all the alternative platforms because I envision a day where I will not be allowed on the internet. If you follow me on Instagram if you want to see more of that type of stuff. I'm trying to keep my YouTube free of that because I don't want to get banned. I would like to keep teaching people how to grow their own food. One of my biggest goals in teaching people to grow their own food was that they would wake up and see what the pharmaceutical industry is, what the big agribusiness is, and that would make them say, hey, wait a second, we're being poisoned, we're being controlled, there's a monopoly controlling everything, controlling the government, controlling all aspects of our life, and getting off of that, becoming sovereign, growing your own food, that's the best way to maintain your freedom. That is the biggest reason why I teach you to grow your own food, because I want you to remain free. And that is my little rant. And I don't want to talk too much more about it. Like I said, I don't want to get banned. These people are absolute Marxist, fascist, authoritarians, whatever name you want to call them. Greg Judy is why we are getting goats. Should always have had them. Interesting. Yeah, I definitely am interested in goats and trying them at some point. I think they're a really cool animal. Chip drop, I'm too far out. They won't give it to me. For compost, I'm actually making my own. I've got a few videos on how I'm doing that here because I have a neighbor that raises rabbits and probably has like 50 rabbits in her thing, in her little barn. And so she gives me all of her hay and manure and she puts it in my barn. I turn it, I mix in bokashi and how you guys have seen me make compost for years. That's how I'm doing it. So that's what I'm using for my compost. I did, if you see my couple videos on how I built my raised beds and my in-ground beds, I did buy in some mushroom compost. What did I buy? Probably bought like 36 yards of it, like over $1,000 worth, because this was like last year. I could tell things were starting to get a little crazier in the world, and I wanted to get as much soil as possible over here to build everything. And so I've got a little stockpile of soil, but now that I've got this stuff, I'm pretty much good to go. You just really need that initial amount of compost to get like your beds going. And this is the first year garden, and I grew incredible produce here because I added the minerals, I added the microbes, beautiful long carrots. Even though there is compacted clayey ground out there, it doesn't matter. If you set up the soil right, like I've been teaching you guys for years, you can, even the first year, you can get wonderful, wonderful veg. And compost really is kind of the key to all of that. And setting up a garden with compost initially, it's kind of like the foundation of a house, setting that up from the beginning right. And then from there, you don't really need to add much from that after that. If you're inoculating with biology, adding minerals occasionally, mulching is a great way to keep getting that organic matter into your soil. That is the ultimate. So that's what I recommend. Yeah, mushroom compost is very good. I would say also be careful because I could tell that the stuff that I got, they grew in a straw substrate. And much of the straw, especially in this part of the country, or really all over the United States, they spray it with some sort of herbicide. So I did see some herbicide damage on my peas, my tomatoes. Those are crops that will kind of show herbicide damage more than others. So definitely check that out. Make sure it doesn't have it. And you can test things, you can grow some plants in it to test it first. How much land does one household need to homestead? If you're gonna raise animals, I mean, you could just do it on a quarter acre. That would be enough for the vegetables and you just have chickens. Only that probably. Um, when you have less land, it usually will mean that you will need to buy in more inputs. So if you want to raise goats or a couple sheep or a pig, you're gonna have to bring in inputs to feed them. So keep that in mind. But for me, my ideal, when I tell people, if you're going out there to buy land in the country, which I highly recommend, if you're able to, you shouldn't live in the city or the suburbs anymore. I don't think that's smart long term. Those are going to be very, very controlled areas in the future. And if you're paying attention to what's going on in the world right now and look up UN Agenda 2030, you can see what the plan is. They tell us what they're going to do. And so for me, 3 to 5 acres, you can do, just about anything. You can't do cows. You could do dairy cow if you want, a couple cow, like a steer and a dairy cow for meat. Just recognize that unless you live in a very rainy area that has great grass growth, that you're gonna have to import hay, which, if you can get spray-free hay, it's not too expensive. I know my local friend here gets spray-free hay for $3 to $4 a bale right now. No, what is it? I can't remember. It wasn't too crazy. Just recognize diesel prices are going up, grain prices are going up. We are going to see a dramatic increase in the price of food going forward. You've already recognized that, I'm sure, in the store. But if you follow like Ice Age Farmer, he's an excellent person to follow for news around the world about farming and what's going on with the food supply. You need to understand that food costs. I knew when I got into farming like over 11 years ago, this was a potential future that was coming. And here we are. And, I think food prices, like I saw chicken in the store was like $4 or $5 a pound for just your, conventionally raised chicken. And I remember when chicken used to be 99 cents a pound for chicken breasts. And we're going to see that increase radically as the government keeps printing more of our money. That's another way that they're taxing us, is through inflation by continuing to print U.S. dollars. Our U.S. debt's now at 27 trillion, something like that. After Trump, went crazy with the spending, and every president spends more than the last. You got to recognize that that's a pattern, and that's what goes on. So it doesn't really matter who's president. These globalist agendas push forward. That's why it's important to make yourself as free from them and their control as possible, growing your own food, having your own power, your own water, your own shelter, having skills. All these things are going to become more important as we go into the future. And that's why building those skills is so important. That's why you're seeing me here trying out a lot of different things. So I can do it for myself and also to show you and encourage you to try it yourself. And I think that we have to not be fearful in general of anything, but also don't be fearful of trying to learn a new skill. Everything I've taught myself in life pretty much since I graduated college in 2010, I've taught myself everything, farming, everything. I mean, I've had some, I've learned from many farmers. I've gone and helped on different farms. I've taken some classes, but in general, I've learned everything from YouTube and reading articles and reading books. And what I've found is nothing is that difficult. It's difficult when you start that initial research phase and like the first few months that you're doing it. There's a huge learning curve and it's a little trickier. But if you can push past that, it's just so beneficial. And the more skills that you add on, you just realize like, whoa, I can fix my car. I can raise sheep. I can mill my own wood. I can this and that. So don't stop. Don't stop learning. how to do things yourself, and don't let anybody tell you that they're an expert and you can't do it or you can't have the knowledge because you're not an expert and you didn't go to school. Um, Kimberly, I kind of mentioned that about market gardening. I'm building another farm, but I probably won't build another market garden style farm. I want to do more perennial type stuff and animals. If I do an annual veg garden, I will probably bring on somebody to help me manage that. John Kohler, he's great. I met John Kohler. He came and visited me in San Diego, and I got to do a video with him. It was really cool. He's a great guy, very passionate about getting people to grow their own food. He's been doing it on YouTube. How long has he been on YouTube? 12 years or something. I personally, I don't think the vegan diet makes any sense. I can explain that. Don't go crazy. There's a time and place, maybe for a detox, or you're trying to do something with your body that maybe you do want to go vegan for a short amount of time. I think here's why I don't think that the vegan diet makes sense. You can't be a vegan in the northern hemisphere in a temperate climate with a harsh winter without the global food supply, without industrial farming. And this is something that a lot of vegans don't recognize, is that in order to grow all the pea protein and all the vegetables and this and that, they're using tillage-based farming, tractor-based farming, conventional style techniques that destroys land, that kills a lot of animals. And actually, to grow vegetables, you actually end up killing more animals than raising meat on pasture. Far more animals. If one cow or one pig, one cow for sure can feed my family and more than like a family of 4 for a year. One animal. Now, to grow all these vegetables, you got to understand all these machines are running them over. They're tilling up the ground. So moles, bugs, the microbes, like what kind of bothers me, and I've talked to many great vegans that understand this and I recognize this, but so many, especially the newer vegans or ones that have just like watched a few documentaries, they just go so cult-like so quickly, and what they don't recognize is that death is required for our life. It's just part of life. You have to just understand that. If you're not willing to take the life of an animal, I understand that. I respect that. That's how you want to live. That's okay. Like for me at this point in my life and where I'm at, I don't want to buy meat from a store anymore. And I don't. I buy it from farmers that I know and that I trust, or now I'm able to grow out my own meat. I know how to butcher chickens, rabbits, and pigs. I'm hopefully going to be able to learn a deer this weekend, and then sheep soon. So I'm taking full responsibility for my actions and myself and my food. And you can't just do that overnight. It takes a lot of time and energy, and I don't expect people to all of a sudden change. I've been into regenerative agriculture and doing regenerative agriculture for over 11 years now. I took a couple of years off when I was in Korea and traveling, but this has been my life, my passion, 24/7. So I understand that's not everybody's life. But so in my opinion, like for me, I have European genetics. My people live off of meat and dairy. If you live in the tropics at the equator, you can grow fruit and vegetables year round. But in the northern hemisphere, you can't do that. Sometimes you have a 6-month winter. So how are you going to eat during those 6 months? You need animal food to do that. So I realize there are some people that are living a vegan lifestyle in this northern, like in Maine, or there's a guy someone told me about. But you can't do that on a mass scale that all these vegans want to do. And who is promoting the vegan diet more than anyone? Who? Our enemies, the New World Order, the globalists. They want us to be all vegan, right? They're not good people. They don't want what's best for us. They want us to do this. So look at who's promoting these things, and I can tell you do the opposite, and you're going to be pretty well off in most situations. I'm trying to find another question to answer here. Let me do this live chat. So yeah, guys, those are some. I'm glad I can talk about those few things. These are things I want to make videos about, but I don't have enough time, and I'd rather just show you guys how to grow food. I never really wanted talk about politics or any of this garbage, but we're at a point where you have to talk, you have to say something, you have to resist. We're being taken over globally, and you need to stand up for your rights. You have God-given rights. Even like, everybody's into the Constitution, but at the end of the day, the Constitution is a piece of paper. It doesn't protect your rights. You protect your rights. The government doesn't care about you. It wants more power, more control, and to steal more of your money. So you have to remember that these people do not have our best interests at heart. And I think it's really funny, and it just shows such an ideological misalignment with a lot of the so-called left or the progressives. Remember Occupy Wall Street and the 99% versus the 1%? Remember that whole thing? They were like anti-Wall Street, anti-big business. They used to be anti-big pharma. But now, who is pushing that narrative more than anyone? The left is. It's crazy. Like, what happened to the anti-big corporation left? Let's team up, guys. I'm with you. Like, they're destroying us. So why are you promoting a product that they've been able to have indemnity they can't be sued for, and they're forcing it on people, even children who don't even need it, and this product doesn't even work according to their own studies. It's just like the biggest joke. So I just wish that everybody, it doesn't matter what political thing you believe in, and I have respect for anybody who can like hold an argument and reason out why they believe something. But in general, like, they can't hold an argument on this, and they're so hypocritical, like, they in what they believe, and it just drives me crazy. And the right is the same, honestly. The people who are still pro-Trump after everything he did, after spending twice the amount of money that Obama did in 4 years, he started UBI, paying UBI payments because of all this stuff, 2 gun laws, the first anti-free speech law. He still promotes the juice. He's a tyrant. He said, take the guns first and due process later. This isn't a person who understands liberty or freedom, and yet we have the right begging for Trump to come back. It's insanity. And it's just so frustrating that people can't see through the narrative of right versus left, black versus white. It's all this thing where they divide you and conquer you. It's a very old strategy, and it works all the time. And I'm sure, like, people that are rabidly pro-Trump are like, oh, this guy, he's a liberal. No, man, I never have been in my entire life. I've been anti-government as long as I can remember, since I learned about Ron Paul. Ron Paul was the last politician that I wanted to vote for. He's the last good man in politics. So if you want to know what I believe, Ron Paul is my guy. It's thanks for letting me rant, guys. This is definitely therapeutic for me. And thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you haven't. I really appreciate that. And the censorship. It's like, why can't we have a conversation? Really, we can't talk about this is what journalism used to be. You're presented both sides, and the public makes the decision. That's what science used to be. Science is about taking all the evidence, considering the evidence, testing that, and then seeing the results objectively. Now there's only one side to science. Now it's cult. It's not even a religion. It's a cult, and that's highly dangerous. We've already seen this happen. How many times have we seen this happen in past regimes over the last 100 years? They do the same stuff over and over and over again, and like, I don't get it, but people can't see tyranny anymore. It's like, what? You guys don't see what this is? This is Marxism 101. This is what they do. They pit races and different identities of people against each other so that they fight. They don't see who the true enemy is, which is the state. They are our enemy. And they are the ones that are, how do they get more power? By dividing us, divide and conquer. It's the same old game. Problem, reaction, solution, the Hegelian dialectic. These are just strategies that are very easy to use on sheep, on people that are easy to hypnotize. And unfortunately, many people are. They've been in government indoctrination camps called public schools their whole life. When I was in community college, I had a professor in economics professor that told us, I think he was from Venezuela too, which was like so ironic. He told us, you can print money forever. A government can just keep printing money. It doesn't matter. and the economy will be fine. That's what we're being told in school. And that was back in probably 2008, something like that. So we already know what they're teaching now. I mean, this is why I recommend to all young people to not go to college, especially if you don't know what do you want you to do. Do not go there. Like, you're going to go into debt for no reason, and they're going to brainwash you hard. I just highly recommend you stay away. You're way better off investing that money into a business, traveling. Oh my gosh, the education that you get from traveling is incredible. Go travel for 3 months. Well, you can't now. That's another thing. My wife is Korean. Some of you guys know that. We were going to go back to Korea at least once a year to visit her family. We can't do that now because of this tyranny. My wife may never be able to visit her parents again because she's not going to take that product. I'm not going to take that product. And luckily, we've been able to convince her parents not to, too. So, it's disgusting. They're separating families. Like, North and South Korea was separated. She's, her grandpa, one of her relatives were stuck in North Korea. One of her grandpas escaped North Korea, came to the South, started an orphanage, and now we're getting separated again. They're separating people again. It's, because of this discrimination, this evil agenda. It's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about this. And you see me talking about it on Instagram. You should follow me on Instagram and Telegram. I have links down in the description. You see, like, my family's highly affected by this. I can't go visit my in-laws because of this. And if this agenda is allowed to go forward, it may be permanent, because I'm not going to take the mark. That's where this all will go. Digital ID, all this crap. So I will not bow down to the world system that's being put up. I believe in Jesus Christ. I follow Jesus Christ. That is the only person that's my only authority in my life, period. Not the state, not Fauci, none of these psychos. So, it's frustrating, guys. It really is. And I know a lot of you guys are in the same position. Wrangler Star, yeah, he's amazing. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, he hasn't put an episode out in a little bit. But I love Wrangler Star. I look up to that guy a lot. So, we'll see what happens. You guys out there need to, if you're not already, don't comply with anything. Luckily here in Tennessee, we don't have any restrictions, or but if I went into a store that told me to put a diaper on or do whatever, I'd probably just not even give them my money, but I'd go in there and say, go ahead and call the police, because you have no right to ask me to do this, and this is discrimination, because it is discrimination. And it's pretty crazy, like, the population in the United States that is not taking this in the biggest numbers is black people. And you want to know why they're not taking it? Because they've been experimented on in the United States. One famous experiment was called the Tuskegee experiment. You can look that up. And they were injecting black people with syphilis and telling them that it was something else. And there's all sorts of awful things that have been done to black people in the United States. And like the Japanese were put into internment camps. They're U.S. citizens, but because they're Japanese, they were locked up like prisoners. So there's all sorts of, people don't like to remember history or what happened, but it's like, guys, like, very tyrannical stuff has happened in the most free country in the world, right? That's what we say about America. But is it? I know for myself, traveling in other countries, there's other countries that I felt more free in many parts of Asia, honestly, in certain ways. And not to say, I still love America. I came back to America because I think it's worth fighting for, and I think that this is a place where there are people that still believe in freedom, and people who are willing to fight for freedom. I'm kind of surprised that more people haven't fought back. Or just not fought, right? I believe in peaceful resistance. We shouldn't be using any type of violence, period. Only defensive force is the correct moral force. Everything else is illegitimate. Only defense. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens here in America. I think certain states will remain free. Certain states will go full tyranny, like California, Connecticut, New York. Although the people there are really standing up in a big way, San Diego especially, they are really standing up in a tremendous way, which is very inspiring. So, we're in a very interesting time. And that's why it's so important to grow your own food. And I think that a lot of people, they think that, because we're armed here in America, that we'll be able to resist what they're going to do. And to a point, that's true. But what you don't understand is if they turn off the power, if they shut down supply chains, if you can't get food in the grocery store, you're going to give up. You can't fight. You're going to have to do whatever they say. If you can't feed yourself. And I think that's something that a lot of people out there don't, especially in the freedom movement, aren't talking about, is that we need to be able to feed ourselves. So yeah, Trump is definitely a con man. I believe he is New World Order, in my opinion. I thought in the beginning maybe he was different, but the last year of his presidency, he proved what he really was, unfortunately. I don't think that presidents are elected. I think this last I shouldn't talk about the elections, right? But presidents are selected, in my opinion. So, yeah, grow your own food, guys. I know I've been preaching that as long as I've been on YouTube, but you guys got to do it. Add on more types of food to your system. Is the rain loud right now, guys, or can you hear? I got a good microphone on here, so it should be okay. Idaho's fantastic. Yeah, Idaho, Utah, Missouri. Georgia's pretty good. Atlanta worries me because any place with a giant city, it breeds bad stuff. Where else is good? Yeah, Montana, South Dakota, Florida. There's a lot of good states out there. Yeah, I've been focused on just teaching you guys how to grow your own food. I thought people would wake up from me talking about things, but just nature and stuff, but not really. If you want to hear, we got Chris. Here he is. We got a psycho. Can we ban him? Why would big business and the government want you to take a blank that would hurt you? Why, dude? Do you know how Big Pharma works? They want us sick for a long period of time so they can sell you drugs the rest of your life. Yeah, if I had my admin in here, I would ban. We don't want to ban him. He's asking good questions. That's okay. He didn't say anything too crazy. They want customers for life. That's why you're seeing this product being promoted as they want to give it to you every 6 months or every year to get more money, right? These big corporations want money. They want power. There's a reason that you can't sue them because this has been since the 80s. They made a law where you can't sue these companies for those specific products. I'm not going to ban him. He's fine. So that's why money and power. It's that money, sex, and power. Those are the reasons that people do evil things. Those are the main motivations of human beings. Money, sex, and power are not bad things in and of themselves, but they can be very, very misused. So, yeah, and Sabrina brings up a good point, I think, about modern medicine. It is not all bad, for sure. If I got into a car accident, Western modern medicine is going to save my life. It's incredible. Like she mentioned, her child has a genetic disease. There's certain things they've been able to solve through that. I think that there's also a lot to be said about modern medicine causing extreme amounts of damage to people too, through these certain products, through certain medications. They've killed every year. Accidental medical things in hospitals and doctors. It's over 100,000 deaths a year. It's like the leading cause of accidental deaths in the United States is from medical mistakes. You can look that up. It's widely known. So, I can't completely bash Western medicine, but what I would say is that if you want to treat dis-ease, you can do that yourself by eating a very healthy diet, herbs, drinking good, clean water, getting the right amount of sleep, these simple things. So, there's good and bad to most things, guys, and it's not all black and white. So sorry if I made it sound like I'm saying things black and white, but yeah, there are reasons that you would want Western medical intervention, and there is amazing things that have come from it. Yeah, Mike J, one of the members. If you want to become a member and support my content and what I'm doing, you can join below. I've got links for that. And Mike's talking about Rockefeller medicine. You can look that up online and what that is. I highly recommend that you learn more things about how the system in America works. The Rockefeller medicine, Rockefeller schools, a lot of the systems that are built in America have come around the last 150 years. A lot of this tyrannical stuff that's going on is a result of all of that, like the Federal Reserve. And if, we'll see if I think I can keep this video up without having a strike on my channel. I don't think I said anything too crazy. If I do, though, if I do decide to take it down, this video will be up on BitChute and Odyssey. All my videos go up on those platforms, and I highly recommend that you subscribe to me there and watch videos there too. And those are places where a lot of people go if they are banned, or they want to put content that they can't speak about on these platforms that are being censored. And yes, Brian, yeah, great point. A lot of people don't take care of themselves, especially in the US. I mean, it's ridiculous. What is it, like 50% of people in America are obese? They eat just garbage day in and day out. So it's just ridiculous. People want to think that they can take a pill and get better, or take the juice and be healthy. That's not what health comes from. Think about the health of the soil. Where's that coming from? The microbiome. Our health is directly connected to the microbiome of that soil, and the microbiome of our skin, the microbiome of our gut. And that's where our health really, really comes from. And that's why I talk about soil health so much, because it's directly related. And that's why you got to educate yourself, because you'll never be taught this in school or college, anywhere. You need to learn on your own. Unfortunately, well, fortunately, honestly, it's, a lot of people aren't motivated to learn on their own. So, but, studying ancestral diets, that's something that I'm very into. The Weston A. Price Foundation. There's a great book. He's a dentist that was around like about 100 years ago. He went and studied indigenous cultures all over the world, and it's incredible. He's got pictures of it all too, and you can see these people that are living Aboriginal lifestyles. They have a perfect set of teeth. I had braces. I had to have my jaw like expanded or whatever, because my skull, and a lot of Western people, or people who eat Western diets, our skull isn't formed correctly because of malnutrition. But if you look at these Aboriginal people in the pictures in that book, they have beautiful skeletal structures, like the perfect chiseled face, perfect teeth. They've never seen a dentist or an orthodontist in their life. How did that happen? It's from nutrition. And specifically, it's from eating organ meat of animals, from fermented foods like fermented cod liver oil, the kimchi's, all that sort of stuff. Look into that sort of thing if you're interested in some really next level nutritional advice. But it's just a fascinating book. And he even looks at like criminals and stuff in the UK, and all these people that were murderers and did all these horrible crimes. If you look at their faces, and actually a lot of these like Antifa people, they have that same, and just in criminals in general, right, that are doing bad things. If you look at their skeletal or their facial structure, it's all jacked up. They're not like beautiful looking people. And what he found by studying their skeletal structure is that their brain, like when it's forming, it doesn't form correctly within the skull, and that causes issues with thinking and cognitive ability and all these things. And it's all directly tied to the nutrition of the mother. There's actually tribes in Africa, before they even get pregnant, the mother will go on a very specific diet, like for a year, to prepare her body before she even gets pregnant. And then while nursing the baby, and even after the baby's born, they're on a specific diet. Anyways, yeah, like the pictures that are shown in that book are really fascinating. Yeah, so paleo, primal, those type of diets is what interesting. Your kid had straighter teeth after eating like that, exactly. Because when your body has those minerals, and that's really what's lacking in the Western diet is minerals. Because our soil, like I spoke about earlier with those sheep, how I'm feeding the minerals, they drop the manure on the land, and then the minerals are uptaken by that soil. Or you change the microbiome so that the plants, the microbes are able to break down the soil to make those minerals available to the plants. This is the issue with our nutrition currently and why the microbes are so important. If we didn't have microbes in our gut right now, when you ate, you wouldn't be able to absorb nutrients, you would die. And that's why people are having like fecal transplants and things like this going on because they don't have a good microbiome because they've destroyed it by taking antibiotics, by eating foods high in glyphosate and other poisons and heavy metals. They have parasite issues. These are the things that are really affecting the health of human beings today. And that is what's not being recognized by Western medicine. Doctors are not educated in what I'm telling you about. I know I'm not to being boastful or something, but I know more about nutrition and the immune system than most doctors because they're not educated about this. It's not in their schools because who is paying these universities to create the curriculum? The pharmaceutical industry. Who lobbies the government? The pharmaceutical industry, banks, insurance companies, big ag, all the monopolies controlling our world and poisoning the world. That's, how our system works, unfortunately. But you don't have to participate in that system. That's why I'm telling you to grow your own food. Take control of as many things in your life as you possibly can. And then it doesn't matter what the psychopaths do or what they try to push on us. We control it. And doctors and nurses know what I'm saying is true. You're not educated in those things. They don't give you that knowledge, unfortunately. It's sad, but it's pretty cool. I'm seeing a lot of doctors wake up to this and realize, hey, the ones that actually continue to educate themselves and read studies after they get out of med school, they're realizing this, and now there's things called like functional medicine and holistic doctors, private medicine practices and membership practices for doctors. And for me, that's like the future of medicine. If I was to go see a doctor, that's who I would go to. So, yeah, Club Patty, exactly. People just live extremely unhealthy lives and they think some magic thing is going to make them healthy, but that's not where health comes from. So, yep, and yeah, people who eat healthy, drink good water, take care of themselves, they look incredible. Yeah, this person, Tony, says they're 65 and they say they look 40-ish. My dad is 65 and people always say he looks 40 or 50 because he's taking care of himself. The Unpeel, what's up? How's it going, man? Yeah, critical thinking is definitely lost, but that's because we're not taught to critically think. We're taught to be robots. We're taught to listen to authority. But listening to man's authority is going to lead you astray, almost always. You have to trust. You can't just trust what someone says, especially nowadays. You listen to what they say, take it in, go do your own research, look at both sides of an argument, both sides of the science, and then come to a conclusion on your own. Unfortunately, if you search on Google, they don't give you both sides anymore. They show you one side. So you got to use DuckDuckGo, or you got to, use a VPN. You got to do certain things to get other information. So, thanks guys for being my therapist and letting me rant at you guys. I hope this is interesting. These are things I've always wanted to talk about with you guys, but I haven't had the time to make videos on it, or I just, I say this stuff more on Instagram or on Telegram now. That's where I say these things. If I get banned off there, I don't really care at the end of the day. So follow me there if you want to hear more stuff like this, or I post memes. I post more of my own thoughts. Yeah, Mark Passio, he's pretty cool. The thing is, he believes in natural law, but you have to ask, where does natural law come from? And if, in my opinion, if you can't ground morality to God, to something outside of us, then morality becomes relative, and can only, you have nothing to ground it to if you don't believe in God, in my opinion. Lance, I do private consulting. I recommend joining from the field, Curtis Stone's private site. We do consulting on there. That's a pretty cheap way of getting to do consulting with me on there. So that, or you can email me, but I don't have tons of time to do that sort of thing. Yeah, homeschool your kids. It's really cool to see the homeschooling movement exploding. I think it's like 10% of students now are homeschooled in America. That's fantastic. Um, I I think that, if I had children, and I hope that we have children someday, um, I would never send them to a school. I want to educate them, or I want them to educate themselves. Actually, I'm a big fan of unschooling. That's another concept where students they choose what they want to learn, and you provide that to them. I mean, just teaching them farming, teaching them farming business. You can learn almost everything that you would need to learn about life through running a farm. Let me turn on the light. So coffee, Jesus is definitely not overrated, Dino. I recommend read the Gospel of John. If you've never picked up a Bible and at least read the Gospels, read Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. I think John's one of the best Gospels. This is one of the most this is the most sold and printed book in the world. If you haven't read that, or at least read part of it, how can you say that you've truly looked into all things? Are you truly seeking about truth if you haven't read that book? And there's something special about Jesus. This man never left. Like, he didn't go within 100 miles of where he was born. He was not a politician. He was not a rich person. He was a carpenter. He only preached for 3 years. And after his crucifixion and resurrection, I believe he did rise from the dead. And his disciples went on to keep preaching and died, were tortured and killed. These people were Jewish. They had no reason to create some new religion when they were already the chosen people. They were already had their access to God. They had no reason, if this man wasn't who he said he was. And from that point, the gospel spread throughout the whole world, unlike any other religion. And I don't even consider it a religion, honestly. I've read the what's it called, the Book of Tao. I've read Taoism. I've read some Buddhism. I've read some of Islam, the Quran. I've looked when I used to be an atheist or agnostic, I'd say, and I looked into these things, and what is the truth? And if you're not like searching for the truth, you're not willing to look at some things, other things that are outside of your perspective, then you can't say that you're on a truth quest. You're more on a happiness quest, and whatever makes you happy is what you're going to choose. But truth is, at the end of the day, truth is singular. It can't be multiple things. Everybody can't have their own truth. Anyways, coffee. Oh. So I'll talk about coffee. I do drink coffee. I don't drink it every day. So I never want to become addicted to coffee. And I only drink 1 cup, almost always. If I drink more than 1 cup, it gets me too amped up and it gives me anxiety. So I don't do that. So, if you're gonna drink coffee, you should drink it organic, coffee is one of the most pesticided crop in the world. So that's why I only drink organic. I enjoy coffee. I think it's delicious. I enjoy the smell. I enjoy making it. I switched over to a French press this last year, and I really enjoy it. So I don't drink it every day though. I like maybe 3 or 4 days a week and just 1 cup, and that's what I do. So tea. I enjoy tea a lot too. So alcohol, I just try to stay away from alcohol. I mean, I used to do a lot of drugs and alcohol when I was younger. Unfortunately, I'm not living that way anymore. Thanks to Jesus changing my life and giving my life over to Jesus. But I might have a beer every now and again. I really love the flavor and the taste, and I love IPAs, but it is not something I abuse or drink because alcohol affects your sleep, actually. Especially, yeah, Chris, no problem, man. I shouldn't have. I'm a little sensitive. You're a great person, and you're not It doesn't seem like you're crazy dogmatic. So, yeah, but with alcohol, yeah, it affects your sleep. It does not put you into. It will prevent you from going into the REM sleep, if I'm remembering correctly. And I just noticed if I drink it, like I have a beer or two, like later at night or something, I don't sleep as good and I wake up more tired. Especially in beer, there's phytoestrogens, estrogen precursor, like that's in soy. I was talking to a friend about that today. So for a man, I don't think that's good to have. If I'm trying to gain muscle, which I'm trying to lift weights more, it's going to affect that. It's just worthless calories. If it's not organic beer, then it definitely has glyphosate in it. So there's a lot of negatives to alcohol. It way outweighs the positives, and I don't know. I'm just done with alcohol. I'm not interested. The hard kombuchas are good though. They are tasty. I like kombucha a lot. I need to get back into making it. So that's what I like to do is just drink kombucha. That's kind of my special drink. Other than that, I just drink water, some coffee, some tea. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on those few things. Water kefir. Oh yeah, I never got into that. Someone gave me some kefir grades and then I didn't do that. So yes, and yes, the Bible talks about remaining sober, and I think once I became a Christian, I still dabbled with smoking weed and things I used to do in the past, and I noticed that when I did that, when I did intoxicate myself, I felt cut off from God. And that's not a good thing, right? I think that cannabis can have a time and place, especially used medically. If you're gonna take an opiate or a synthetic opiate pain med or something like that, or ibuprofen or some type of anti-inflammatory or things like that, I think that that plant is a way better choice than taking those synthetic drugs. So that's my opinion on that. People can do whatever they want, but I'm doing my best to stay sober, and I've been successful at that. So I want to remain sober. And I feel better, I do better, I have a better mood, I make my videos better, everything in my life is better when I stay sober. So that's why I want to remain that way. And yeah, exactly. If you stop doing these things, if you stop eating sugar, you stop craving the sugar. If you stop drinking alcohol every day, you stop craving it. And actually part of that is that when you eat different foods, the microbes are changing in your gut, actually, and your microbes are calling out for more of those foods. So that's why people get so sugar addicted, is because the microbes have changed in their gut. A lot of people have candida outbreaks and problems. If you have a lot of yeast infections and things like that, you have candida growth, and that's from eating too much carbohydrate, too much sugar. So that's why cutting out those things is like really, really important in your diet. So yeah, Kyle, you can go back and watch this video. We'll post and everything, so you can go watch the whole thing later. Aloe juice, yeah, that's a good one to drink. We had some aloe growing here last year, and then I left it outside, and a freeze killed it. So, all right, guys. Well, is there any more questions or things to talk about? Like, type them in now. Otherwise, I'm gonna head in to relax. Yeah, you can be sober. You can be a moral person without God. I don't deny that at all. But Jesus said He is the way, the truth, and the life. I believe there is no other way to heaven but through Jesus. Jesus is our advocate. He's the one that defeated sin, and sin is the thing that nobody wants to deal with. Sin is the thing that no other religion truly deals with. And that, I think, is what's so unique about Christianity and so unique about Jesus. You haven't read the Bible. Why not? Why not read the book of John? Just see what Jesus had to say. What do you have to lose? And if you want, you can. A lot of people have a lot of questions about the Bible and what it is, and was it changed by Constantine and this and that. The Bible was already, about by 100 AD, the whole entire New Testament was finished. So you can look into that. If you want a good apologetics channel to watch, if you have questions about Christianity, it's called Cross Examined by Frank Turek. And a lot of those questions that you have, they're like all answered by him. If you want to look more into that, there's a million books that you can read. Cold Case Christianity, I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. Evidence That Demands a Verdict by Josh McDowell. Case for Faith, The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. There's a lot of books out there that go over the evidence of Christianity if you really want to know. So, Dino, stop. You got to stop with the caps locks, man. It's too much. Cannabis is absolutely a plant, but you can abuse that as well. So, Earth ships, Queen Kimimela. Earth ships are really cool, but the problem with an Earth ship is you need too much labor to create it. I typically see them being created like by a ton of volunteers. You need a lot of material too, like thousands of tires. It's hard to get that. So cocaine is not a plant. That is something that has been synthesized with chemicals. There's the cocaine plant. The people in South America chew on the leaves and it has a caffeine-like effect. But cocaine is a drug. So, a little different. So, John Moore, Liberty Man Radio, okay? Now, I don't really want to talk about drugs, guys. Those are not things that I use anymore, and I don't recommend them. You're not going to find the truth through a plant, through a mushroom. They may wake you up to some things, they may open your mind a bit, but ultimately, I've gone down those rabbit holes and they don't lead anywhere other than, a fun experience maybe, and that's about it. It will not lead you to the truth. The Bible is really the only place I've found the ultimate truth, and that's what I believe, and I respect whatever you believe, if that's what you want to believe, but I think we're here to make a choice, either to serve God, and love the people around us, or to not, and that's all your choice. I am not coming back to San Diego anytime soon. I'd like to, but I don't want to have to deal with flying. Humble gardening, I'm in Zone 7A now. Zone 7A. So, love cat. Oh, that's cool, you're having rabbit. I learned how to butcher a rabbit this year from my neighbor, and we cooked it, and it was pretty interesting. It was okay. I'm not like the biggest fan. Maybe I gotta try it a couple more times. So Rhode Island Reds, yeah, Orpingtons. I love barred rocks. My great grandfather raised barred rocks in Texas. I found out a couple years ago, and that was really cool. That's kind of my favorite chicken now because of that. Um, and what else is cool? Any of the heritage breeds are fantastic. I like the heritage breeds the best. Yeah, the whole meta thing and the what is it called? The metaverse. It's very interesting. I don't wanna. I really don't want to use that personally. Rabbits are definitely a profitable business if you have the market for selling the meat. Joel Salatin's son, Daniel Salatin, I don't know if he's written a book on it or he had a profitable rabbit business. I think they still do rabbits even. He's an adult now, but he started doing that business as a child or a young man. And chickens are the absolute best animal to get into for your first animal, whether that's for business or just for your own food. They're easy, they're cheap. If they die, they're easy to replace. Um, you know, Raising animals means you will lose occasionally. You will lose an animal, and be prepared for that. Check out lsn.com, local sales network. That's a great place to find animals to buy. Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. Those are the kind of the places I know about and I look for right now for animals. The homestead's pretty ready to go for winter. I just finished off all the garden. That rain that you might be hearing is watering in my cover crop, my final batch of cover crop, the garlic. I'm basically working on projects this year, building my mobile coop, setting up my fencing in the front field. What else am I doing? We're doing that butchering class here in East Tennessee. There's a link in the description if you want to learn to raise and butcher your own pigs. We will be teaching that we got 5 total farmers, including myself, plus a professional butcher coming to do that. And we're going to do that probably once a year at least. So if you missed this one and you're in the Southeast Tennessee area and you want to do that in the future with us, follow me on social media and you'll see when I do that again. But yeah, we want to really push out that knowledge about growing your own food, especially meat. Meat chickens, I know how to butcher chickens really well now. I was helping my friends Forest Fed Farm all season as they grew out their 500 birds. I need to get on McMurray Hatchery and order mine for spring so I can do my own birds this next year. So yeah, so I'll have layers, meat birds, sheep, and pigs. Those are the animals that I'm going to be doing and continue doing into the future. I'd love to do some turkeys maybe next year. And I don't know. That's probably it for now. I think I've got enough on my hands as it is. The next projects I have going into the future are doing that. Do I announce my classes on From the Field? No, I just put content out there. I just sent Curtis 2 new videos for From the Field. So if you're a member on there, you can actually sign up through my link in their description. So yeah, I look forward to those new videos on From the Field. And so future content is really developing that front field and a future farm at some point too. So that's what I'll be working on. But anyways, hope this was a good live stream. I think this is probably my best one I've ever done. I've never had over 100 people before, so it was really cool. But thank you guys, and check out the links down in the description if you ever want to support my work. Buying through any of those companies is a way that you can support my work. It doesn't cost you a thing. Join my membership for the channel. You can get fun emojis and a badge and all that cool stuff. Ask me questions and I will respond to your comments. So yes, live free, Dino. I love it, man. Live free. So anyways, guys, have a wonderful day. or evening, I should say. The rain's coming down now. So it was really fun. All right, God bless you guys. And yes, praise Jesus. And we will see ya in another video soon.